In one country, choosing the wrong haircut can land you in prison, and saving your child from a fire before a politician's portrait is a crime. This isn't a movie. It's the shocking reality for 26 million people in North Korea. To uncover the full, unbelievable truth, subscribe now and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our deep dive into the world's most secretive nation. Today, I am going to tell you a story. But this is not a normal story. It is something so shocking, so hard to believe that you might think it isn't real. This story is not from a movie. It is not fiction. Everything I am about to tell you is 100% true. This is not just a story. It is a reality for millions of people. A reality so terrifying that it might change the way you see the world. I want you to take a moment and imagine something with me. Imagine living in a place where you cannot wear the clothes you want to wear. Imagine a place where you cannot listen to the music you like. Imagine a place where you cannot speak freely even inside your own home. If you say just one wrong word, you could disappear and no one would ever see you again. Imagine a place where, if you do not cry at the leader's funeral, you could be sent to prison. A place where, if you try to leave your whole family, could be punished for your actions. Can you even begin to imagine what it feels like to live like this? This is the terrifying reality of life in North Korea. Today, I want to take you inside this country, into a world that is completely hidden from the rest of us. By the end of this story, I think you will feel shocked. You will feel heartbroken. And you will also feel grateful. So grateful for the freedom that you have. Please don't just watch the beginning of this story. Stay with me until the very end, because only then will you truly understand everything. Now I want you to listen to me carefully, because this is the truth that the world doesn't always want you to know. Can you believe this? For over 70 years, just one single family has controlled the entire country of North Korea. It all started with a man named Kim Il-sung. He was the first dictator. When he died, his son Kim Jong-il took over, and now his grandson Kim Jong-un rules the country. 3 generations of the same family have controlled the lives of 26 million people. They treat the country like it is their own personal kingdom. They live in beautiful houses and eat expensive food while their people starve. They create lies to control the people while the people suffer in silence. And the worst part is that no one is allowed to question them. No one can ask, why? In most countries, when a baby is born, the parents get to decide everything. They choose the baby's name. They think about what kind of life they want for their child. They dream about the school their child will go to and the job they might have in the future. It is a time of hope. But in North Korea, you do not get to choose anything. Your life is not your own. Everything is decided for you by the government from the moment you are born. The very first thing that is decided for you is your Songbun. What is Songbun? It is a ranking system. It is like an invisible rule that follows you and controls your entire life. If your family is close to the government, if they are considered loyal, you get a high Songbun. This is like being born lucky. It means you can live in a good city like the capital Pyongyang. You can go to a better school, and you will have a chance at a better job. But if your family has a low Songbun, you will suffer for your entire life. You will never be allowed to go to a good university, no matter how smart you are. You will only get the worst jobs, the ones that are difficult, and pay very little. You will be treated like a criminal, even if you have done nothing wrong. And here is the most shocking part. Your Songbun is not decided by what you do. It is decided by what your ancestors did many years ago. If your grandfather was a soldier who fought for North Korea, you might have a good life. But if your grandfather was a businessman, a farmer, or if he ever said anything against the government, your entire family will be punished. Even you. even if you were not even born at that time. There is no way to change your Songbun. It does not matter how hard you work or how loyal you are. You will never be able to improve your life. Imagine that for a moment. Being punished for something your great-grandfather did a person you never even met. Can you believe that this is real? Now let's talk about something as simple as the clothes you wear. In most countries, people can wear whatever they want. It is a way to express who you are. Women can wear jeans, skirts, dresses, or even shorts. Men can grow their hair long, shave it off, or style it however they like. But in North Korea, your clothing is controlled by the government. Women must wear skirts that cover their knees. They are not allowed to wear jeans because jeans are seen as a symbol of the West. They cannot wear short skirts or tight clothes. If a woman is caught wearing a dress that the government thinks is too tight, she can be punished. And what about makeup? Forget about it. Women are not allowed to wear red lipstick. Why? Because the government says red lipstick is a Western influence and it is not allowed. There are only about 50 haircuts that are approved by the government for men and women. You must choose one of these styles. You cannot have any other style. If a man tries to grow his hair longer than the approved length, he can be stopped by the police on the street. If a woman dyes her hair a different color, she will be punished. Can you imagine that being arrested just for your hairstyle? There was a story about a woman who was visiting the capital city. She was caught wearing tight pants. She was immediately arrested and sent to a re-education camp. There she had to do hard labor for months. And what was her crime wearing clothes that the government said were too modern? This is not a joke. This is real life in North Korea. Food is one of the most basic human needs. In most countries, people can go to a supermarket and buy whatever they want. We can choose from many different kinds of fruits, vegetables, and meats. Even in poorer countries, people usually have some choices. But in North Korea, food is strictly controlled by the government. Every family receives a fixed amount of food every month. This is called a ration. And the amount of food you get depends on your Songbun, that ranking system we talked about. If you have a high Songbun, you might get some rice, a few eggs, and maybe some vegetables. But if you have a low Songbun, you will only get corn and cabbage. Meat is a luxury that most North Koreans can never afford. They might only taste it once or twice a year on a special holiday. One man who managed to escape from North Korea said that when he was a child, his family received only 3 kilograms of rice per month. That is not enough for a family to survive. So what did they do? He said they had to mix the rice with grass and even the bark from trees just to make it last longer, just to have something to fill their stomachs. There is something called a black market where people secretly and illegally buy and sell food. But if you are caught doing this, you can be sent to prison or even worse. In most countries, people are free to think what they want. We can criticize our leaders, we can read different books, and we can watch whatever movies we like. This freedom of thought is so important. But in North Korea, your thoughts are also controlled right from your birth. From the time you are a small child, you are taught that the leader of the country is like a god. You are forced to memorize his speeches in school. Every house has a radio that is fixed to a government station, and you cannot turn it off. It plays government messages all day long, filling your home with propaganda. All books, all TV shows, and all movies are controlled by the government. There is no internet for ordinary people. You cannot read news from other countries. If you are caught watching a foreign movie, you can be executed. One teenager was caught watching a South Korean drama on a USB stick. What happened to him? He was killed in front of 10,000 people. The government made people from his town come and watch, and his parents. They were sent to a prison camp for 15 years. Can you believe that? Being killed just for watching a TV show. In North Korea, there are secret police everywhere. You never know who is watching or listening. Your neighbors, your coworkers, even your own family members might report you to the government. If someone reports you for saying something bad about the leader or the government, you can disappear overnight. People learn to whisper even inside their own homes because they are afraid that the government might be listening through hidden microphones. One woman saw her neighbor being taken away by police in the middle of the night. He was never seen again. What was his crime? He had told a joke about the leader to a friend. In North Korea, your life is not your own. Everything is controlled. What you wear, what you eat, what you say, and even what you think. But this is just the beginning. There are even more shocking truths about daily life in this country. Let's continue. In every single North Korean home, there must be 2 framed portraits hanging on the wall. One is of Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea. The other is of Kim Jong-il, his son, who ruled after him. These portraits are not just decorations, they are a serious duty. They must be kept in perfect condition at all times. You must clean them carefully every single morning. You are not allowed to decorate them, and you cannot put any other pictures on the same wall. The government even sends inspectors to people's homes to check if the portraits are clean and hung correctly. And here is something truly unbelievable. If there is a fire in your home, your first duty is not to save your family. It is not to save your children. Your first duty is to save these 2 portraits. There was a story about a terrible fire in one family's home. The house was burning. The father ran inside to save his little daughter, but in the panic, he forgot to take the portraits first. The next day, after losing his home, the government arrested him. His crime was not protecting the leader's pictures. He chose his own child over the portraits, and for that, he was punished. North Koreans work long hours every single day. They work in factories, on farms, and in offices. But do they earn enough money to live number? The average monthly salary in North Korea is just $3 to $5. Yes, you heard that right. $3 to $5 for a whole month of work. This is not enough to buy food for even 1 week. So how do people survive? They are forced to work secretly in the black markets. These are illegal markets where they can buy and sell food, clothes, and other goods to make a little extra money. But this is very dangerous. If they are caught, they can lose everything: their food, their money, and even their freedom. One man worked extra hours in a factory and managed to save a little bit of money. He used this money to buy some rice for his family from a black market. But when he was caught, the police took all his money away and sent him to a labor camp. North Korea has many prison camps. People are sent there if they break the rules, even if they committed a very small crime. But these prisons are worse than any nightmare you can imagine. Prisoners are given almost no food. They might get a few grains of corn and some dirty soup every day. This is not enough to survive. So what do? They become so hungry that they catch rats, frogs, and insects to eat. Some even eat grass from the ground and bark from the trees just to stay alive. One former prisoner said that he saw people fighting over a single dead rat because they had nothing else to eat. Another prisoner was caught trying to eat grass. The guards punished him by beating him so badly that he almost died. North Korea has a population of around 26 million people, but experts believe that more than 40% of them do not have enough food to eat. In the 1990s, there was a huge famine in North Korea. It was a time of terrible hunger. Millions of people died because the government refused to give them enough food. Parents were forced to watch their own children starve to death in their arms. But at the same time, the government was spending billions of dollars on weapons. They were building nuclear bombs and buying luxury goods for the leaders. Kim Jong-un, the current leader, has a private island, a collection of luxury cars, and even his own personal movie theater. All of this while his people are starving. A man who escaped from North Korea said something that I will never forget. He said, "The leader eats steak and drinks expensive wine, while the children in my village were eating grass and dying on the streets." Can you believe that a leader living in extreme luxury while millions of his own people starve to death? In most countries, if you want to visit another city, you just buy a bus or a train ticket and you go. It is simple. But in North Korea, you cannot travel freely. You need permission from the government to go from one city to another. And what about leaving the country? It is almost impossible. The borders are heavily guarded with fences, soldiers, and landmines. If you try to escape, you will most likely be killed. One woman tried to escape with her little son. She paid smugglers to help her cross the river into China. She was desperate for a better life for her child. But before she could escape, the guards caught her. She was killed in front of a crowd of people as an example to others. And her young son was sent to a prison camp alone. In most countries, if you break the law, only you will be punished. But in North Korea, your entire family will suffer. This is a terrible policy called 3 generations of punishment. If you commit a crime, the government will not only punish you, but they will also punish your parents, your brothers and sisters, and even your children. One man was caught listening to foreign music from South Korea. He was sent to a prison camp for 20 years. But his parents and his younger brother were also arrested and sent to prison just because they were related to him. They had done nothing wrong. Another man managed to escape to South Korea. When the North Korean government found out, they arrested his entire family who were still in North Korea. They even arrested his elderly grandmother. Can you imagine that your entire family suffering and maybe even dying for something you did? The government controls all information. We have talked about this, but it is so important to understand. In most countries, people can watch movies, listen to music, and read books from all over the world. But in North Korea, the government controls everything. There is no real internet. People cannot use Google, YouTube, or social media. They can only see a small number of government-approved websites. The TV only has government channels that show propaganda all day long, and the only books you can read are government-approved books. Reading a foreign book is illegal. One young man was found with a South Korean music video on his small USB drive. His punishment for this was death. So far, you have learned some shocking truths about North Korea, how people live in constant fear, how they work for almost no money, how prisoners are forced to eat rats to survive, and how the leader controls every part of their lives. But what you are about to hear now is even worse. Now I will expose the horrifying punishments that happen inside the labor camps. I will tell you how public executions are used to spread fear among the people. We will talk about the lies and propaganda that are used to brainwash them, and how the leader makes people believe that he is a god. This is the darkest part of the story. Imagine this. You are caught listening to a foreign song on a hidden radio. The police come to your door. They arrest you and take you to a prison camp. There is no trial. There is no lawyer. There is no one to help you. You simply disappear from your life. North Korea has many of these prison camps, but one of the worst is called Camp 14. It is said that people who go into this camp never come out. Prisoners wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work until midnight every single day. If they move too slowly or stop to rest, they are beaten with sticks. They are given only one small meal per day. Usually, it is just a little bit of corn and some dirty water. If they want more food, they have to catch rats, frogs, or insects in the fields where they work. One former prisoner, a man named Shin Dong-hyuk, was actually born inside Camp 14. He never knew that a world outside the camp even existed. His parents were prisoners, and the guards forced them to marry each other inside the camp. From a very young age, Shin was forced to watch public executions. It was part of his life. One day, he saw his own mother and his own brother being executed. Why? Because they had planned to escape. The guards forced Shin to watch as they were killed. This was part of his punishment, seeing his own family die. Shin finally managed to escape the camp when he was a young man, but he is one of the very few lucky ones. Most people in these labor camps die from hunger sickness or from being tortured by the guards. In North Korea, you don't just go to prison for a crime. Sometimes you are executed in front of a huge crowd of people. These public executions are a way for the government to control people through fear. They force citizens, even children, to come and watch as people are killed for breaking the rules. What kind of crimes can get you executed? Watching a foreign movie, owning a Bible, trying to escape the country, or speaking badly about the leader. One woman was executed just for distributing Bibles to other people. The message from the government is very clear: if you disobey, you will die. So you might be wondering, why don't the people fight back? Why don't they try to change their situation? The answer is one word: propaganda. The North Korean government controls all information. They decide what people can see, hear, and believe. From the moment a child is born, they are taught that North Korea is the greatest country in the world. They are taught that their leader is a perfect godlike being. They are taught that the rest of the world is dangerous and evil, and only North Korea can protect them. People cannot access real news. They have no internet, no foreign books, and no outside information. The TV shows and school lessons tell fake stories about other countries. They say that people in the United States, South Korea, and Europe live like slaves. They say these people have no food, no homes, and no happiness. The government even stages fake stores and fake cities to show to the few foreign visitors who are allowed into the country. Everything is a lie. And the biggest lie of all is about their leader. North Koreans are taught that their leader, Kim Jong-un, is a god. The government tells fake stories about him and his family to make people worship them. For example, they say that his father, Kim Jong-il, never needed to use the toilet because his body was so perfect. They say that Kim Jong-un can control the weather with his emotions. They say that when the first leader, Kim Il-sung, was born, a new star appeared in the sky. People are forced to bow to statues of the leaders. They are forced to cry with emotion when they see him in person. If someone doesn't show enough emotion, they can be punished or even executed. One time, a high-ranking official was caught falling asleep during a speech by Kim Jong-un. He was taken away and never seen again. Kim Jong-un does not even trust his own family. In 2017, his half-brother Kim Jong-nam was assassinated in an airport in Malaysia. He was poisoned, and it is believed that he was killed on his brother's orders. Why? Because Kim Jong-nam had spoken against the North Korean government in the past. Kim Jong-un also executed his own uncle, a man named Jang Song-thaek. His crime was supposedly not showing enough respect to the leader. But the most shocking part is that Kim Jong-un reportedly forced his own family members to watch the execution. In most countries, people can criticize their leaders. It is a normal part of democracy. But in North Korea, if you speak against the leader, you disappear. One man whispered to his friend, "I think Kim Jong-un is not a good leader." A few days later, the police came to his house. He was never seen again. Another woman was caught listening to a South Korean radio station. The next morning, she and her entire family were taken away. Some people are killed immediately. Others are sent to the labor camps where they are beaten, tortured, and starved until they die. This is why no one dares to speak the truth. People live in constant fear every second of their lives. You have now learned about the horrors inside North Korea, how people live in fear every single day, how the labor camps work people to death, how the leader controls every part of life, even people's thoughts, how public executions keep people terrified, and how Kim Jong-un pretends to be a god and even kills his own family. But now I will reveal some of the most dangerous and secret truths. We will talk about the secret tunnels and the underground networks that are helping people escape. We will look at what the world is doing and why some countries do not want North Korea to change. And finally, we will talk about the biggest secret that North Korea is hiding from the world. This is a dangerous part of the story, but it is also a story of incredible hope. I already told you that in North Korea, leaving the country is illegal. If someone is caught trying to escape, they are often publicly executed to set an example for others, or they are sent to a labor camp for the rest of their life, where they will slowly die from hunger and torture. And remember, their entire family is punished too. Despite these terrible risks, some people still try to escape. But how do they do it? To the south of North Korea is South Korea, a free country. But between them is a heavily guarded border called the DMZ, or the Demilitarized Zone. It is the most dangerous border in the world, full of landmines, barbed wire, and thousands of soldiers with guns. To the north of North Korea is China. But there are rivers to cross, and in the winter, they are frozen. Border guards are trained to shoot anyone they see trying to cross. The only real option is to cross into China illegally and then find a secret way to travel to South Korea or another safe country. But escaping is not as simple as crossing a river. If someone is caught and sent back to North Korea, they are tortured in the worst ways imaginable. Some people who escaped and were caught have described the horrific things that happened to them. They were beaten with metal rods until their bones broke. They had their fingernails pulled out with pliers. They were forced to kneel on sharp stones for hours. Women who were pregnant were sometimes forced to have abortions, especially if the government thought the baby's father was Chinese. One woman, Park Yeon-mi, who managed to escape as a teenager, later found out that a friend of hers was caught trying to escape. That friend was executed in front of her own family. Despite these terrible dangers, there are brave people who risk their lives to help North Koreans escape. There is a secret network of people similar to the Underground Railroad that helped slaves escape in America long ago. This network helps North Koreans cross into China, travel through secret safe routes, and finally reach South Korea or other free countries. These escape routes are top secret. Even if someone gets help, they can never fully trust anyone. Some people make it out alive, but many others disappear forever. Believe it or not, there are also secret groups inside North Korea that are trying to fight against the government. How do they do this? They do it by smuggling outside information into the country. Small USB drives filled with foreign movies and news are secretly passed from person to person. Radios are hidden inside walls so that people can listen to the truth from South Korean broadcasts. Fake money and documents are used to bribe officials. Some groups in South Korea even send large balloons over the border into North Korea. These balloons are filled with leaflets that tell the truth as well as USBs and money. The government hates this. They are terrified of it. Because if people learn the truth, they will no longer obey. This is why people who are caught with foreign information are often executed. This is why North Korea is so dangerous. The leaders know that if the people wake up, their dictatorship will end. Many people ask, why doesn't the world help North Korea? Why don't other countries try to stop this? The truth is very complicated. Some countries do want North Korea to change, but other countries actually benefit from the way things are. China secretly supports North Korea because it wants a buffer, a space between itself and the US-allied South Korea. Russia also does business with North Korea to get around international sanctions. Some powerful nations even use the threat of North Korea as an excuse to spend more money on their own military. Even though many human rights groups are fighting to expose the truth, governments are very careful. They do not want to start a war. And so, North Korea remains a giant prison for 26 million people. But there is one final secret. This is the one that the North Korean government never wants the world to know. Despite all the control, despite all the fear, people inside North Korea are slowly waking up. More and more people are secretly listening to foreign radio. More and more people are risking their lives to escape. And more people are losing their fear of the leader. One day, the people may rise up and end this terrible dictatorship. And when that day comes, the world will finally see the full truth. The suffering, the lies, the horror, and the incredible bravery of those who fought for their freedom. The North Korean government is afraid of only one thing: the people realizing the truth. Because when people stop believing the lies, the dictatorship will fall. Now you know the truth. North Korea is not just a country. It is a massive prison. The people live in fear, but some are secretly fighting back. The world is watching, but politics often prevent real change from happening. And the biggest secret of all is that the people are starting to wake up. This is one of the most shocking and heartbreaking stories in our world today. But the story is not over yet. Because as long as one person continues to fight back, the dream of freedom is still alive. And one day, the walls of this prison will fall. If you found this story shocking, powerful, and eye-opening, please consider sharing it with others so that the truth can be heard. Because the more people who know about this, the harder it will be for this reality to stay hidden. If you are watching this video right now, you are lucky. You can go outside without fear. You can choose what to wear, what to eat, and what to say. You can watch any movie, read any book, and use the internet freely. You can travel, work, and live the life you want. The people of North Korea do not have these rights. So the next time you feel frustrated with your own life, I want you to remember this story. Remember how lucky you are. Appreciate the freedom you have because millions of people are still dreaming of it. This was the shocking truth about North Korea. But do you want to know everything about the dictator himself? How did he become the most feared man in North Korea? What are the secrets about his childhood and his rise to power? If you would like a full biography of Kim Jong-un, please comment below and let us know. Thank you for listening.